The orbital observation post Sierra 7 sat motionless against the backdrop of Saturn's rings, its exterior coated in light-absorbing metamaterials that made it virtually invisible to conventional scanners. Inside, Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez stared at her sensor displays with growing concern. The quantum detection grid had picked up substantial gravitational distortions at the edge of the solar system, the telltale signature of multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. "Contact," she announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Multiple signatures, far larger than civilian vessels. Classification matches known Nexera Empire configurations. Her fingers flew across the haptic interface, sending encrypted quantum burst transmissions to Earth Command. The Nexera Empire. Humanity had been preparing for this possibility for decades. While Earth presented an image of a moderately advanced civilization to the galactic community, focusing on trade and cultural exchange, the reality was far different. Hidden beneath the surface of every major celestial body in the solar system lay automated manufacturing facilities, defensive installations, and technological marvels that would have shocked their interstellar neighbors. Admiral James Chen sat in the deepest levels of Earth Command, studying the holographic display as it tracked the incoming Nexera fleet. The massive vessels moved with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat, their formation suggesting they expected minimal resistance. Intelligence suggested the Nexera had conquered 12 star systems in the past century, always following the same pattern: overwhelming force against seemingly inferior civilizations, followed by rapid subjugation and resource extraction. "Send the warning," Chen ordered, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the tactical displays. The message was transmitted in all known galactic standard formats. "This is Earth Command to approaching Nexera fleet. You are entering sovereign human space. Our civilization values peace, but we are prepared to defend ourselves. Reverse course immediately." The response came quickly, transmitted with the arrogant certainty that had become the Nexera's hallmark. High Commander Vextel's image appeared on the main screen, his scaled face bearing what passed for a smile among his species. "Primitive humans," he began, mandibles clicking in what intelligence suggested was amusement. "Your attempts at diplomacy are noted, but unnecessary. The Nexera Empire requires your resources, and we will have them. Your technology level has been assessed. Resistance would be futile and wasteful. Submit, and your species will be permitted to serve as productive members of the Empire." Throughout the solar system, disguised sensors tracked the Nexera advance. On Mars, automated factories deep beneath the red soil silently began producing autonomous defense drones. Within the asteroid belt, seemingly abandoned mining facilities transformed into missile platforms. Beneath Europa's icy surface, quantum computers processed combat scenarios at incredible speeds, updating defensive strategies in real time. "They're maintaining course," Rodriguez reported from her observation post, reading energy signatures consistent with weapon systems coming online. 3 carrier-class vessels, 15 destroyers, and multiple support craft. She paused, double-checking her readings. "Sir, they're deploying in standard Nexera conquest formation, exactly as our simulations predicted." Admiral Chen nodded, unsurprised. The Nexera's greatest weakness was their absolute confidence in their superiority. They had never needed to adapt their tactics, never faced an opponent who could truly challenge them. That was about to change. "All commands, maintain emissions control," Chen ordered. "Let them come deeper into the system. Activate Defense Plan Theta 9, but keep our advanced systems dark for now. Let's show them exactly what they're expecting to see." Across the solar system, outdated defense satellites and early warning systems began broadcasting on easily detected frequencies, creating the impression of a panicked civilization scrambling to mount a basic defense. The Nexera fleet pressed forward, their sensors detecting exactly what they expected. A technological society several generations behind their own, ripe for conquest. High Commander Vextel stood on his flagship's bridge, watching tactical displays with satisfaction. Typical primitive response, he commented to his subordinates. They waste energy on obvious transmissions, deploy their limited defensive assets without coordination. This will be among our easier conquests. High Commander Vextal stood on his flagship's bridge, watching tactical displays with satisfaction. Typical primitive response, he commented to his subordinates. They waste energy on obvious transmissions, deploy their limited defensive assets without coordination. This will be among our easier conquests. But in the hidden heart of Earth Command, Admiral Chen watched the Nexera advance with grim satisfaction. Every move they made had been predicted, every assumption about Earth's capabilities, carefully cultivated over years of subtle misdirection. As the invasion fleet passed the orbit of Neptune, Chen opened a secure channel to all hidden command nodes throughout the system. All commands, prepare for Phase 1. Let them believe in their superiority for a few moments more. When they cross the inner system boundary, we'll show them exactly how primitive humanity can be. The trap was set. Humanity's greatest deception was about to be revealed, and the Nexera Empire was about to learn a harsh lesson about judging a civilization by its apparent technological level. The real question wasn't whether Earth could defend itself. It was how much of their advanced technology they would need to reveal to send the invaders running back to their empire with tales of warning. The Nexera fleet crossed Mars' orbit with the confidence of apex predators, their massive ships casting long shadows across the red planet's surface. High Commander Vextal watched with satisfaction as his forward scouts reported no significant resistance, just as expected from such a primitive species. The scattered defensive satellites they'd encountered had been easily destroyed, their outdated weapons barely scratching the Nexera ship shields. Status report, Vextal demanded, his scaled fingers tapping rhythmically on his command chair. Proceeding as anticipated, High Commander, his tactical officer responded. Human defensive measures are consistent with a Type II civilization. Their attempts at resistance have been predictable. In the depths of Earth Command, Admiral Chen watched the Nexera advance with calculated patience. The enemy fleet had triggered dozens of quantum sensors hidden throughout the system, providing a perfect real-time map of their formation. Every destroyed defensive satellite had transmitted valuable data about Nexera weapons systems and shield configurations before its destruction. They're approaching the asteroid belt, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from her observation post. All ships maintaining standard Nexera assault formation. They haven't detected any of our true defensive platforms. Chen allowed himself a small smile. Initiate Phase 1. Let's give them their first surprise. Throughout the asteroid belt, what appeared to be abandoned mining facilities suddenly came to life. But these weren't the crude defensive platforms the Nexera had encountered so far. Quantum-linked targeting systems activated, and advanced AI combat systems began coordinating their response. The first indication that something was wrong came when 3 Nexera scout ships simultaneously disappeared from their tactical displays. There had been no warning, no energy signatures to detect. They simply ceased to exist. High Commander, the tactical officer's voice carried an unfamiliar note of concern. We've lost contact with forward elements, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Before Vextal could respond, space itself seemed to come alive. Dozens of asteroids that had appeared inert on their scans suddenly revealed themselves to be sophisticated weapon platforms. Graviton beams, previously thought to be theoretical weapons by Nexera scientists, lanced out from multiple directions simultaneously. Impossible. Vextal rose from his command chair as alerts blared across his bridge. These primitives shouldn't have this level of technology. Raise all shields to maximum power. But the graviton beams weren't aimed to destroy. They were precisely calibrated to disrupt the Nexera ship's artificial gravity systems. As crews suddenly found themselves floating helplessly inside their own vessels, a second wave of attacks began. Swarms of microsatellites, previously hidden by advanced cloaking technology, emerged from their hiding places within the asteroid field. Each one was barely larger than a human hand, but together they formed an intelligent network that could adapt and respond faster than any conventional fleet. "Sir," Rodriguez's voice carried a note of professional satisfaction. "The microswarm is performing exactly as designed. Nexera point defense systems are unable to track targets of that size moving at those speeds." The microswarm demonstrated exactly why size wasn't everything in space combat. The tiny drones slipped through the gaps in Nexera shield configurations, attaching themselves to ship hulls. Rather than explosives, they carried quantum phase disruptors, devices that could temporarily alter the atomic structure of hull materials. Vextal watched in horror as sections of his ship's supposedly impenetrable armor simply ceased to exist, leaving perfect circular holes through multiple decks. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut throughout the affected vessels, but the damage was done. 3 destroyers, their life support systems compromised, began emergency retreats. "Fall back to safe distance," Vextal ordered. "Regroup and prepare for full assault formation." His tactical officers scrambled to comply, but the graviton disruption made coordinated movement nearly impossible. The mighty Nexera fleet, terror of 12 star systems, found itself in disarray. Admiral Chen watched the chaos with grim satisfaction. Phase 1 completion confirmed, he announced to Earth's Combined Defense Council. Enemy fleet combat effectiveness reduced by approximately 30%. Minimal power expenditure from our primary defense systems. But Chen knew this was just the beginning. The Nexera weren't known for retreating. Their pride wouldn't allow it. They would regroup, adapt their tactics, and return with even more determination. That was exactly what Earth's defenders were counting on. "All commands, begin preparation for Phase 2, Chen ordered. "They've seen our first layer of defenses. Let's see how they handle the knowledge that everything they thought they knew about humanity was wrong." In the asteroid belt, the remaining Nexera ships finally managed to withdraw to a safe distance, their formation ragged and their confidence shaken. High Commander Vextal stared at the damage reports with a combination of rage and disbelief. These primitives had bloodied the nose of his fleet with technology that shouldn't have existed. "Send word to the Empire," he commanded. "Request reinforcements. These humans have hidden depths, but no matter what other surprises they have, they cannot stand against the full might of the Nexera Empire." But as his message beamed across the light years, Vextal couldn't shake the feeling that he had gravely underestimated his opponent. The humans hadn't even revealed their main fleet yet. These had just been automated defenses. What other secrets were they hiding in their seemingly peaceful solar system? The answer would come sooner than he expected, and it would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Admiral Chen stood in Earth Command's strategic center, studying the quantum-entangled holographic display showing the Nexera fleet's regrouping efforts. The enemy had withdrawn to the orbit of Jupiter, using one of its larger moons as a shield while they effected repairs and waited for reinforcements. Their formation was more cautious now, their sensors sweeping space constantly for signs of the technology that had bloodied them. "Time to show them what we've really been working on," Chen announced to his command staff. "Deploy the Ghost Fleet." Deep beneath Europa's icy surface, in caverns hidden from all conventional detection methods, humanity's true naval power stirred to life. The ships of the Ghost Fleet weren't the bulky, obvious warships the Nexera expected. Each vessel was a marvel of human engineering. Sleek, dark shapes built around quantum cores that could bend both light and gravity. Lieutenant Rodriguez, now transferred to the fleet flagship Artemis, watched as the ships emerged from their hidden docks. "Ghost Fleet launching, Admiral. All quantum drives nominal. Stealth systems at full capacity." The ships moved in perfect silence, their quantum drives producing no detectable emissions. They were practically invisible to every known form of detection: radar, lidar, gravitational, even neutrino sensors. The only way to spot them was to physically see them, and their metamaterial hulls made even that nearly impossible. High Commander Vextal paced on his bridge, mandibles clicking in agitation. The initial defeat had been humiliating, but the arrival of reinforcements would ensure final victory. The humans had revealed some impressive technology, yes, but they couldn't possibly match the full might of the multiple impacts. His tactical officers screamed. Unknown weapons penetrating our shields. The Ghost Fleet had struck without warning. Quantum torpedoes, weapons that could briefly phase through conventional matter, materialized inside Nexera ships, detonating with devastating precision. The human vessels remained invisible, striking from all angles with weapons that simply ignored the most advanced Nexera defenses. Return fire, Vextal ordered, but his gunners could find no targets. The few energy signatures they detected proved to be decoys, drawing Nexera fire away from the actual attack vessels. The proud Imperial fleet began to break formation, each ship firing desperately at shadows. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display with cold satisfaction. Execute Pattern Sigma. Let's show them what coordinated warfare really looks like. The Ghost Fleet move is one organism, guided by quantum-linked AI systems that could react faster than organic minds. Ships appeared briefly, fired their impossible weapons, and vanished again before Nexera targeting systems could lock on. The humans had learned from centuries of their own warfare that the most devastating attacks were the ones you never saw coming. This is impossible. Vextal raged as another destroyer succumbed to quantum torpedo strikes. No species at their development level should have this technology. We monitored them for years. That was exactly what we wanted you to see. Chen's voice came through on all Nexera frequencies, calm and assured. While you watched our civilian technology, our public achievements, we were preparing. Every trade deal, every diplomatic exchange, we were studying you, learning your weaknesses, developing countermeasures to your every advantage. The Ghost Fleet's attacks continued relentlessly. Nexera ships found their computer systems compromised by quantum AI viruses that slipped through their most sophisticated cybernetic defenses. Communication between vessels became unreliable as human quantum jamming technology created bubbles of isolated spacetime around target ships. Lieutenant Rodriguez coordinated the fleet's movements from her station on the Artemis, watching as the mighty Nexera armada began to crumble. Sir, enemy fleet cohesion is breaking down. Their formation is collapsing. But even in their desperation, the Nexera remained dangerous. A group of destroyers, realizing they couldn't hit the Ghost Fleet directly, began firing antimatter torpedoes in a spreading pattern. Space itself warped and twisted as the weapons detonated, creating zones of intense gravitational distortion. Clever, Chen admitted, but not clever enough. Activate the gravity wells. Hidden platforms throughout the outer solar system activated, projecting controlled singularities that caught the antimatter detonations and channeled their energy into contained corridors. The humans had turned space itself into a weapon, using the Nexera's own attacks against them. Vextal watched in horror as his fleet's most powerful weapons were turned into tools of their own destruction. Ships caught in the gravitational corridors were torn apart, their hulls stressed beyond design tolerances. The proud Nexera commander faced a terrible realization. They hadn't just underestimated human technology. They'd underestimated human strategic thinking. All ships, emergency retreat. He ordered, his voice shaking with rage and fear. Fall back beyond the gravity well effect. But as the Nexera fleet attempted to withdraw, they discovered another nasty surprise. The humans had seeded their retreat vectors with quantum mines, devices that existed in multiple spatial phases simultaneously. There was no safe path out. Chen opened the comm channel again. You have one chance, Commander Vextal. Surrender now, and we'll allow your surviving ships safe passage out of our system. Continue to fight, and we'll be forced to demonstrate even more of our capabilities. The threat hung in space along with the wreckage of proud Nexera warships, a clear demonstration that humanity had been holding back, testing their weapons and tactics rather than committing to full engagement. The galaxy's understanding of Earth's place in the technological hierarchy was about to change dramatically. High Commander Vextal's flagship limped through space, its once pristine hull scarred by weapons that shouldn't exist. The remnants of his fleet clustered around him, their formation tight and defensive. The proud Nexera commander had sent his distress call, but the reinforcements were still days away. Until then, his forces would have to survive against an enemy that had systematically stripped away every advantage they thought they possessed. Status of the human fleet, he demanded, though he already knew the answer would bring no comfort. Unknown, High Commander, his tactical officer replied, mandibles tight with stress. Their stealth technology exceeds our detection capabilities. We only see them when they want to be seen. In Earth Command, Admiral Chen and Lieutenant Rodriguez reviewed the latest battle data. The Ghost Fleet had withdrawn to recharge their quantum cores, but a new phase of operations was about to begin. Deploy the swarm intelligence units, Chen ordered. Let's show them why assuming technological superiority was their first mistake. Throughout the solar system, thousands of dormant pods activated. Each contained a self-replicating AI probe smaller than a human finger, powered by zero-point energy cells. They moved like schools of fish through space, their collective intelligence growing more sophisticated as they networked together. The first warning the Nexera had was when their external sensors began failing. The swarm had attached itself to their hulls, not to destroy but to learn. Each probe analyzed Nexera technology, feeding data back to Earth Command through quantum-entangled links that couldn't be intercepted or jammed. Fascinating, Rodriguez commented, studying the incoming data. Their entire technological base relies on predictable physical principles. They never made the leap to quantum engineering. Chen nodded. That's why they didn't detect our advances. They were looking for developments along their own technological path, never considering we might take a completely different approach. The swarm's analysis complete, Chen initiated the next phase. The probes began reprogramming Nexera systems from the inside out, using their understanding of the alien technology to turn the invaders' own ships against them. Vextal watched in horror as system after system fell under human control. Weapons powered down. Shield generators cycled offline. Even life support systems began operating only at the human's discretion. This is Admiral Chen to all Nexera vessels. The human commander's voice came through on frequencies that should have been secure. We now have effective control of your basic ship functions. This demonstration is to show you that further resistance is not only futile but unnecessary. To prove his point, Chen ordered a single probe to completely disable a Nexera destroyer. The massive vessel went dark, drifting helplessly in space until power was restored minutes later. The message was clear. The humans could have destroyed them at any time. Your reinforcements are approaching from the Carina sector, Chen continued. We've been tracking them since they left Nexera space. Before you consider waiting for their arrival, let me show you something. The quantum hologram appeared on every Nexera bridge, showing a massive structure hidden in the Kuiper belt. It was a quantum forge capable of producing thousands of swarm units and ghost fleet vessels. Earth hadn't even begun to show its true production capabilities. Impossible, Vextal whispered. The resources required, the technology level. We've had centuries to prepare, Chen replied. While your empire expanded through brute force, humanity chose a different path. We hid our advances, letting potential aggressors underestimate us. Every species that visited Earth saw what we wanted them to see, a developing civilization focused on trade and cultural exchange. The humans demonstrated their point by launching a new wave of ghost fleet vessels from the quantum forge. The ships emerged fully formed from quantum fields, their advanced AI systems already integrated and battle-ready. Your empire has conquered 12 systems through superior firepower, Chen noted. But you never considered that true superiority comes from innovation, from thinking differently. Every tactic you've used, every strategy you've employed, was predicted and countered before you even entered our system. Throughout the Nexera fleet, morale crumbled. Crews who had never known defeat now faced an enemy who had outmaneuvered them so completely that actual combat seemed almost unnecessary. The humans hadn't just beaten them militarily, they had shattered the very foundation of Nexera military doctrine. Vextal, watching his mighty fleet reduced to powerless hulks floating in space, faced the most difficult decision of his career. The reinforcements would make no difference. The humans had proven they could control Nexera technology at will. His empire's entire technological base had been shown to be fundamentally inferior. Perhaps, he said slowly, his pride warring with his duty to preserve his crew's lives, it is time to discuss terms. But even as he prepared to open diplomatic channels, Vextal knew the galaxy had changed forever. The humans hadn't just defended their system. They had revealed themselves as a power that had been quietly preparing for centuries, advancing along technological paths the Nexera had never even considered. The age of empire through simple military might was over. Earth had demonstrated a new kind of power, one based on innovation, preparation, and the wisdom to hide one's true strength until the perfect moment. The diplomatic chamber aboard the Artemis bore little resemblance to the utilitarian military vessel the Nexera expected. Instead of stark metal walls, they found themselves in what appeared to be a garden floating in space, with Earth visible through transparent quantum crystalline walls. It was another demonstration of human technological prowess, a reminder that everything they thought they knew about Earth's capabilities had been wrong. High Commander Vextal sat across from Admiral Chen, his once proud posture now tempered by the humility of decisive defeat. Lieutenant Rodriguez stood nearby, coordinating with the swarm units that continued to monitor the remaining Nexera ships. "Your reinforcements have received our message and halted their advance," Chen noted, his tone professional rather than triumphant. "A wise decision. Now let's discuss the future. The Empire will not forget this defeat," Vextal warned, though his words lacked their former conviction. "Other fleets will come." "No," Chen interrupted quietly. "They won't, because we're not going to simply send you home with a warning. We're going to show you why cooperation is more valuable than conquest." With a gesture, Chen activated the quantum hologram system. The garden disappeared, replaced by a three-dimensional star map showing trade routes, resource deposits, and spatial phenomena throughout known space. But this map showed details the Nexera had never seen before: safer hyperspace routes, more efficient trade paths, and resources their sensors had never detected. "Your empire expanded through military might because you believed it was the most efficient path to growth," Chen explained. "But look here." He highlighted a section of Nexera space. "Your current mining operations access only 40% of available resources because you are limited by your scanning technology. With the quantum detection systems we're offering as part of our peace treaty, you could triple your resource extraction without claiming a single new system." Vextal's eyes widened as he processed the implications. "You're offering us technology after we try to invade your system." "We're offering you partnership," Rodriguez corrected, stepping forward. "Earth has spent centuries developing technologies that take different approaches to common problems. We hid these advances because we knew there were species like the Nexera who would try to take them by force. But now that you understand force is futile against us, we can show you a better way." The hologram shifted again, showing simulations of how Nexera ships could be upgraded with human quantum technology. Not weapons, but advances in propulsion, energy efficiency, and sensing capabilities that would revolutionize civilian life throughout their empire. "Your people are not evil," Chen said softly. "You simply followed a path that prioritized military strength over other forms of advancement. We're offering you the opportunity to learn from this encounter, to help your empire grow through innovation and cooperation rather than conquest." As if to emphasize the point, a swarm unit reconstructed itself in the air between them, its component parts realigning to form a perfect replica of a Nexera ship, then transforming into various tools and devices. The message was clear. The same technology that had defeated them could be used to build rather than destroy. "The choice before you was simple," Chen continued. "Return to your empire with tales of defeat and watch as your power crumbles in the face of this new reality. or return as heroes who secured an alliance with Earth, bringing advances that will improve the lives of trillions. Vextal was silent for a long moment, his tactical mind analyzing the situation just as he would a military campaign. The humans had proven they could have destroyed his fleet at any time. Instead, they had carefully demonstrated their superiority, while minimizing loss of life. Even now, they offered partnership rather than demanding reparations or concessions. Perhaps, he said finally, it is time for the Nexera Empire to learn new ways of measuring strength. The treaty that followed would reshape the galaxy. Earth revealed itself not as a conquering power, but as a civilizing force that had been quietly advancing while others fought among themselves. The quantum technology they shared revolutionized everything from space travel to medical care throughout known space. In Earth Command, weeks later, Admiral Chen and Lieutenant Rodriguez watched the last Nexera ships depart, their hulls now incorporating basic quantum enhancement technology, a show of good faith for their new allies. "Do you think they'll keep their word?" Rodriguez asked. Chen smiled, gesturing to the quantum sensors that tracked not just the departing fleet, but activity throughout Nexera space. "They know we'll be watching. But more importantly, they've seen a better path forward. Sometimes the strongest defense isn't the ability to win a war. It's the wisdom to make war unnecessary." The quantum forge in the Kuiper Belt continued its work, but now it produced tools of peace, exploration vessels, medical ships, and platforms for scientific research. Earth had stepped onto the galactic stage not as another empire built on military might, but as something new, a civilization that had learned to grow beyond the need for conquest. The stars above Earth seemed different now. No longer were they just points of light hiding potential threats. They were beacons of opportunity, waiting for humanity to share its unique path of advancement with species ready to learn that true power lies not in the ability to take, but in the wisdom to share.